think some of the statements of church leaders in the past have been quite judgmental and harsh, and I think it's really important that we look back to the Gospels and the way that Jesus Christ encountered people. He was constantly engaging with people on the margins, and so I think if we look back to Jesus Christ and what he's calling us to do today, then welcome and inclusion is absolutely at the heart of what the church should be doing.
I think as the church we need to, and faith community, we really need to emphasize that issue of friendship as one way of reducing or solving our problems, because that's what Jesus stood for. He chose friendship as a means of actualizing love.
I think you just make people feel welcome by knowing them as equal to you, and therefore welcome them as you would welcome your mother, your brother, anyone.
I think you just talk to them like you would talk to anybody else. You know, it's a question of who is my neighbour. I mean, I don't think you have to have any special kind of training. It's just you know they're just people, and ordinary people, but they're living with HIV. Sometimes when I think about ministering to people with HIV, I mean we say ministering, and that's such a big word, and really for me it's just being there. It's knowing this person has HIV and loving them and talking to them about everything that's going on in their lives, whether it's husbands or partners or relationships or kids. So for me, ministering to people with HIV is just being there and just accepting them and loving them and walking alongside them through all the ups and downs of life.
I think in terms of priests and ministers preparing to welcome people who have got HIV, I think the first thing is just to think about how welcoming a community might be, and also to be aware that there will be people in a Christian community who've got hesitations, concerns, maybe not enough knowledge. So making sure that you as a leader and hopefully your congregation as a result are actually up to speed with some of the thinking about what HIV and some of the background to it, so you understand the condition and how it affects people. But also I think allaying people's fears in a Christian congregation is really important. By talking openly about HIV and about issues of sexuality, which are not always openly talked about in a congregation. It's something that the church historically has been quite frightened of. And I think to allay fears by being open about it. But I think in terms of welcome, a congregation is likely to be welcoming or not anyway. And I don't think there are any extra special things you have to do to welcome people with HIV, apart from trying to ensure there's a welcome there for everybody, but also attending to any fears and hesitations in yourself.
For me personally, it would have really helped me if my church, my community that I was already a part of, was more aware and was more prepared for me to come along and share about my diagnosis. I would have wanted them to be kind. Do you know what? This is a really interesting question because, again, everyone's different. Some people don't like it if someone's overly sympathetic. Some people quite like it if someone is a little bit more like, oh, okay, sorry to hear that. It all depends. For me personally, I would have liked, a hug and are you okay? And I don't know very much about that, but I'd really like to know more. Could you please tell me some more about that, and how are you finding it, and just trying to find out where I am and how I'm feeling and what they could do to possibly help me. That would have been really useful. And I think, some churches are very good at that. So I think the problem with HIV, it's the shock factor. As I said before, it's people just don't know how to react when you mention HIV. And actually, probably for churches, all they need to realise is it's actually quite simple. just to treat the person like any other person who's just been told they've got a health condition, and, you know, still touch them, still treat them like a human being. It's actually really simple.